Made on Zencastr.
Dave, you know why I love using Zencastr?
Is it because the recording quality is better than other methods of recording a podcast virtually?
Nope.
Is it because they offer a free version for hobbyists just getting started?
No, not that.
Is it because it's super easy to use for everyone and none of our guests have ever had an issue using it?
That's not it.
Is it because they offer automatic post-production and transcription services?
Negative.
Stop burying the lead. Why do you love Zencastr?
It's because Zencastr is all of the things you just said, Dave. Well, and they sponsor this pod. That's right, Adventures in Collecting is powered by Zencastr. How about your pod? Get started now with Zencastr and use our code to start podcasting today. Visit zencastr.com/pricing and use promo code AICPOD to get 30% off your first 3 months of their professional plan or try it for free. That's zencastr.com/pricing and use promo code AICPOD.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls.
Along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hello, everyone.
Dave, we're back.
We are.
And no one's going to know why we're laughing, and you know what? That is just amazing. It's just absolutely perfect, and that's for us to know and for you all to never, ever know.
You had to be here.
We're back. We're back, Dave.
We are.
And you know, this is an episode that's been a long time coming. So as usual, I'm not going to bury the lead, right?
It's a long time past and a long time coming.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's very existential of you, Dave.
Thank you.
It's very existential moments with Dave. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I felt like a sports announcer for the first time in a while.
Good. I like that you bottle that energy, save it, and let's spread it out throughout the show. Like it's like a little spritz bottle. You got to spread that out through the length of this episode. But let's talk about today's guest, this week's guest. This guest is returning. This is their second time on the show. And it's been nearly 3 years since he's been on, and a lot has changed since then. You know, the global pandemic being one of those things, of course. But making his return to the show, his friend of the pod, and frankly to the toy community at large, Marvel Director of Design and Development at Hasbro, Steve Evans. Steve, welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Thank you so much for having me. I tell you, there's a lot of difference between those 3 years. Number one, I can see you both, which is why we're giggling like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke, I literally had my laptop. I think you were my first proper interview outside of like cons and things like that. And I remember I was upstairs in my closet and I had my laptop really close to my face. I had it on a shelf and I was like so stressed about the quality of the microphone and I couldn't see you and I was nervous. I turned all the lights off in my closet and just spoke to you. So I've come out of the closet in the last 3 years and I can see you both, which is way better. I love seeing both of you. I especially, I love it when we're just giggling like a bunch of idiots, which is great. But anyway, thank you for having me back. I am deeply, deeply honored.
Well, I mean, thank you for taking the time now twice to be on this show. So,
Sure.
I know we thanked you, way back 3 years ago, but 3 years ago, we were literally just sending people cold messages on Instagram like, hey, you want to come on our little toy podcast and talk to two people who have never been anywhere in the toy industry and don't do anything.
We got to go to Toy Fair once.
Yeah, and now And now it's like, it's been an incredible journey for us, and you are one of those early guests that gave us clout. People are like, "Oh, Steve was on the show? Yeah, we'll do it." So, thank you.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
very
seriously.
kind. Well, I've seen you've been building your followers. I had obviously I kind of interact with you in some way almost daily, which is great. So I'm glad. You guys are a nice bunch of guys. You ask good questions. You ask friendly questions, but also difficult questions and tricky questions, which you should do. You absolutely should do. So, keep going, onwards and upwards. And you got some really fancy microphones, apart from Dave, who's got one from Rock Band.
Well, secret's
The
out.
secret is out, everyone.
He's a fraud, but no.
Hey, you know what?
I love
It's a toy and video game podcast sort of thing. So he's just on brand. He's just very on brand.
On brand.
He's trying to get that
also,
weird
I could not go to the store at the time.
It's true. Yeah, we were trying to problem solve. This goes back. So yes, Dave has been using the same microphone for 3 years. Yes.
It's now become like a good luck charm.
Yeah,
almost.
pretty much. But like when we originally started recording in the same room, like he used to be sitting, 20 feet away from me on the couch over there. And when the pandemic split us up, it was like, hey, do you still have that Rock Band microphone? Because I'm pretty sure if you just plug that into the USB port, you're good to go. And sure enough, we've been good to go for 3 years now. So wonderful. But anyway, Steve, as you mentioned, we do like to ask some questions on on this podcast. So, anyone that follows you on Instagram knows your collection is constantly growing. What are some of your recent pickups?
Yeah, so it is growing, and it shouldn't be growing, if I'm honest. My original criteria for collecting was recapture your youth, Steve. You're nearly 50. Remember the good times. So I went back and I collected all my old ET stuff. I obviously had all my old Star Wars stuff. I collected some old Batman, Superman stuff. And now I've got a lot of the stuff that I had as a kid. And now I'm expanding my addiction, to be perfectly blunt. And it's like, okay, what are the toys I didn't have that I would have liked as like a young boy or early teen? That's legitimate. You can do that. So, I used to babysit for a couple of friends when I was about, what was I, 14, something like that. And they had like real Ghostbusters and Thundercats and He-Man. And I was too old for toys at that point in time. But I kind of liked them and sort of played with them, with their toys. So now I kind of expanded. So I got a really sweet Lion-O from LJN with the one you put a little battery pack in his back and his eyes light up, and it's like no one's touched it, and the sword is really straight. And so I picked up one of those. Picked up a He-Man and Skeletor. I picked up things like I'm waiting for it to come in actually in a moment. Black Hole, like the Mego Black Hole line, because like I started watching it again, and it's a terrible movie.
Oh yeah,
but it's the story the premise I quite like. It's just acted like super wooden. But anyway, no disrespect to my good friends at Disney. But I always remember the Vincent. I liked the bots as kids. I was like, they look cool. They're like R2, but they fly. And so I picked up a really, really nice Vincent, because he usually gets worn out on where it's got Vincent at the front and the number, whatever it is. It gets worn out, but I picked one up with a stand that was like no one's touched it. So, and I got a few of the other figures as well, and I'm hunting down old Bob, which will be more difficult. But not as difficult as the humanoid, which I found out is like $1,500 loose. It's insane. But anyway, so I picked up a few Black Holes, Thundercats, He-Man, Bill and Ted's. I loved Bill and Ted as a movie, and it's Kenner, so I picked some of those up. So I'm cheating my own rules in terms of collecting, but like, so what? What are you going to do? It's like, well, my wife doesn't know, so it doesn't matter. My mum's 3,000 miles away, so she ain't going to tell me off. So yeah, that's what I'm buying. That's what I'm buying at the moment. Oh, and Pez. I'm collecting Pez's at the moment as well.
I was gonna say you recently posted that you were getting into the Pez game. So
yeah, like I watched that Pez Outlaw on Netflix. That was amazing. I love stories like that where it's just sort of like just the fabric of the community. So they're really cool. I really like Pez's. There's something about them. There's something about the cheap semi-translucent plastic that I just really like, and I like bright colors as well. So
And
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
some stuff.
aren't we like here on the East Coast? The Pez factory museum is like close by, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like
it's in
Connecticut.
Orange. It's in Orange, Connecticut.
Yeah.
You should. I encourage everyone to go there. I wouldn't class them as competitors at all, but like you should go there. It's a really good kind of history, and it's fascinating history. And some of the innovation that they've done is really cool. Like how they just make. I hate the candies; they taste horrible. But like some of the innovation they've got in terms of
Yeah.
like how they dress the Pez's and they do different things with it. It's fascinating. I love it, and the community is huge. It's a huge community. So anyway, I'm not a Pez head yet, but I'm a Pez pretender.
A Pez poser.
A Pez poser. Yeah.
So we talked about, kind of that retro nostalgic feel, and in toys, what's old is new again is an adage that always comes into play. We talked about the 3 3/4 Raiders of the Lost Ark figures last time, and your collection. How does it feel to have seen them brought back to market?
Oh. It's like, obviously I know a lot of things that happen before they happen and before I can talk about them. And I just remember, I remember kind of kicking off the Star Wars retro line. I remember talking about them saying, hey, we could do retro figures in the old Kenner style for Star Wars. We could bring some of the old original ones back so people who can't afford them or find them can get them, but also to do new characters. And, so that's always been a thing for me. But then, I got into indie and collected all those from like 82, 83. And I was reading up about it, and I kind of, in England, we didn't really have them, to be fair. It was very difficult to find Indiana Jones figures in 82. I think I had a Tocht. I think that's who I had. But I remember reading about it and going, I'm going to buy the line. I'm going to rebuy it. I'm going to buy Temple of Doom. I'm going to buy Crusade. And then when I looked, I was like, crap, they didn't do any. What? And it went to LJN, which I like LJN's like Thundercats line and the ET line, but with respect, I didn't like their Temple of Doom line. I didn't like it. I wanted 3 3/4 inch figures to continue because I want to build out that world. So I was like, that's crappy. And then when I heard that we're doing another Indiana Jones movie, that they're doing another Indiana Jones movie, I was like, hey, you know what's really cool? What could be really cool? We should do and it wasn't necessarily my idea. I'm not claiming that, but they were like, yeah, I know. We're thinking about it. I was like, oh, tell me you're going to not just redo. Tell me you're going to do new figures. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do new figures. I was like, yes, at last. So I was over the moon. And they were very kind because they gave me early samples or samples to have. And that's because I gave them my original ones to scan, which I did with the Star Wars ones, the original. The first 2 waves of Star Wars and the Empire retro were scanned from you can see them, but no one else can. Behind me, they were scanned from those actual figures. And they did the same with Indiana Jones, the first wave of the Raiders figures. So it's a sort of I'm the grandfather of the new retro wave. But the new stuff I love, that's what I'm excited about.
I was going to say that's a unique, obviously, you being at Hasbro, you get an opportunity to work on these products, but like it's so unique that, those molds are, obviously long gone. You can't hang on to everything forever. So the fact that you were able to take your original, Kenner releases and bring them to work, bring your toys to work, but like have them effectively cloned into series 1. I mean, that's like forever.
That was kind of a, I collect loose because I can't afford to really buy everything in pack, and I believe in toys being posed and looked at and felt and smelt, which sounds weird, but I'm a stickler for quality. Like I don't just buy any ones. Like indie, the thumb breaks all the time. I don't know why. I don't know why it's super brittle. There's something about it, but like I would say like 80% of all the loose ones have their thumbs broken. And I searched and I searched and I searched and I found a really good one. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be a standard, which is great because when they're scanning it, they don't want chunks and things. I know they can fix it, but I don't know. I just like the idea of like, there's my pristine loose figure that you can actually scan and move the arms and scan and get all the details you need. And then you make a new one. And I know that every new one out there is based on the one that I hunted for. With great particularness over the years, so it's kind of cool.
It's very cool. It's very cool, and
it's awesome.
You know, same goes for us. I mean, we're excited for those new characters. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've always been a Temple of Doom guy. I mean, it's just like I know it's not everyone's favorite movie of the franchise, but like Short Round getting one of those Kenner style figures is like so awesome. It's so cool.
Or even like Last Crusade, like, you know, Sean Connery.
Yeah. The dog was Indiana. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, as someone who had like a couple of them, and I don't even know how I wound up with them, because, you know, I know they definitely weren't bought for me when I was 1. So I don't know if they were still around or if like whatnot.
Young
but
whippersnapper, you.
yeah, like I had a couple of them, so it's good to be able to kind of recollect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had like I don't even remember you having Indy. Like, I think
I had the mechanic.
And you definitely had Belloc.
No,
No,
I think I had Toad.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I always mix up their names. It's terrible of me, but yeah. I was gonna
think
say
I
the guy
had
in the black.
I think I had the Temple of Doom Indy, though.
Yes, that you did, because that one got a lot of play from me with that little action feature and his like weird, like permanent bent arm.
Yeah, the arm that just did this.
I was always impressed though that the one hand had like the like it was like bandage wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
On
the
taped figure. Yeah,
the taped hand.
I thought that was awesome.
See, now I got to buy that now, even though I said I didn't like them. Maybe I should get one, them to have a look at them. And there's also those ones they didn't do, didn't they? They did a Willie Scott that they never released.
Correct.
They did a few.
And I think they did like a cloth whip with it.
Yeah, and I mean, the one that you had, at least by the time I got it, the hat was long gone. Indy never had his hat. So when I was playing with it, which is like blasphemous, but yeah, I would be curious to see. I've not looked ever, I don't think, on the aftermarket to see what those even go for. If you could even find an Indy with his accessories and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he had the like pouch too.
Yeah, he had the bag that he has that he keeps the stones in, the Chikara stones. Yeah. So from Indy to Marvel. So when we had you on last time, you were not yet with the Marvel team. You were still on the Star Wars brand, or you had maybe just gone over to Marvel.
No, I was just. No, was I just in? I think I must have been. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to speak to me, because I left Star Wars and I did some time in consumer products, which is where we license out our brands out to other people that make like theme park rides and skateboards and stuff like that. I did a stint there, and then I came back to Marvel. So it probably was. I think you had coming back onto Marvel.
Yeah, you had just gone back into Marvel. So now that you've been there for a few years, what are some of the your favorite projects you've gotten to work on there?
Yeah, that was a not a weird question. It's a common question, but it's one I find always difficult to answer in just one thing. I think for Marvel, I enjoyed Galactus. You know, I came in when they were sort of getting on with the Sentinel. But I was there for sort of all of Galactus. I mean, that was cool. And it was, you know, I gave Dwight a hard time about, I said, make sure the bloody knees don't give way. Like, you know what I mean? I want those knees to click. And I gave him a hard time on that. But Galactus was a good one, because that went really well. I enjoyed planning and convincing our new Epic 4-inch line, you know, getting that underway, because the kid line was 6-inch as well as Legends. And I was like, they're kind of the same, but one's got less articulation. Why don't we just change the scale? And that took a little while to kind of get through. So I enjoy that. I hope that does well. And there's lots that I can't even talk about. Like it, you know, I'm a year and a half ahead. So a lot of the stuff that I like, we haven't released yet, or we're about to release. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Mostly on the kid line. You know, Dwight and Ryan and that they run the Legends line. I come in and cause trouble once in a while and sort of say, no, let's not do that, or like, how about this? But that runs on its own mostly. But the kid line is the one where I sort of try and mix things up as much as I can. Maybe I'll get more involved in the fan line, mixing that up a bit more. Ryan's going, oh no. But yeah, but I think Galactus and the 4-inch line, I think so far the that I can talk about are the projects that I've kind of had most interest in doing and getting out the door.
Yeah, and we'll get more into that 4-inch line, but there was also another kids line that launched recently. Those little guys, right? The
Stunt Squad. Yeah,
Stunt Squad. Yeah,
Stunt Squad, super cute. Yeah, they're really cute. I like things like that where you just do something for kids that is just silly kid play. We're all in this because we loved it when we were kids, and the things we loved as kids were silly little play things, and like. Now everyone gets super serious about it, but you can't forget what it was really about at the very beginning. And the good thing is, those little figures I really like. I really dig them. I've got them in my cabinet. They're I'm going to always pronounce his name wrong. John Sommervera. Sommeriva? I'm sorry. I always get his surname wrong. Who's a well-known, character designer and artist. He drew them up and designed them, and we, sculpted them. And I think they're really cute. And like, if you want to collect those as little kind of squidgy, super deformed little characters, have at it. That's good. I don't care how old you are. You can buy them to play with them, like fire them up against the things and make the little booby traps and contraptions work. Or you can just collect the figures and have a little lineup, as I have. So
yeah, they're great little desk toys. Like
they're really cool looking.
Yeah, it'll fit. I always have to fidget. I've got people can't see it. I have a Captain America torso, Legends torso that I'm clicking here that I just constantly always fiddling with, and silly little figures and bits of blue tack. So it's I just fiddle with them.
That is now 2 episodes in a row where Captain America's body parts, Marvel Legends Captain America body parts have come up on the show. Because remember, Eric,
accurate.
Our last guest, Eric Aranya, was talking about Captain America's pants. He has just legs. He has Marvel Legends legs of like a paint variant that he did for Captain America. So
there you go. He obviously gets around. He's not just America's ass. That was my American accent, by the way, because if I say America's arse, I feel people won't understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's obviously America's torso and legs as well.
So with the word, we talked about toys for kids. With the word kidult being such a huge part of the toy world right now, is it challenging in today's market trying to strategize lines that cater to the adult collector while also appealing to kids?
Yes and no. I it shouldn't be because of what I've just said, where we love toys, and there's this sort of innocence about them, which I think a lot of people, if they're done right, like. And I think we are all big enough now, men and women, to kind of admit that we like toys, right? It's not that embarrassing anymore. I don't think it is. So it's all right to like toys, and you can like toys whether they're collector toys or kiddie toys or, for goodness sake, preschool toys. Like some of the preschool stuff is like flipping brilliant, like the design and the way they're finished and the mateness of the plastic. I love. So we don't try that hard at the moment to kind of do both. Now, some of you listening might go, "Wow, it's a load of rubbish, Steve. You keep going on about this 4-inch line being epic and the stunt squad." It's like, yeah, that's all right. I don't expect hundreds and thousands of collectors to suddenly pounce on it and collect them all. All I'm saying is like, hey, these are for kids, all right? So judge them as kids' toys, but we're all here because we loved kids' toys, and kids' toys are kids' toys. So if you like them, cool, have them. I like them. You can like them. You don't have to. I don't care. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. So we don't purposely go out and try and design for both. It's one or the other, because otherwise it gets complicated with how you set it into retail and how you actually market it. It gets too muddy. We do it for kid or we do it for adult fan. And if kids love adult stuff, because a load of kids buy Legends stuff, we don't market at kids really, then great. And if here's the 4-inch line or the stunt squad, and if you're a 38-year-old female, male or whatever, and you like them, buy them. That's fine. It's cool. But they're not. They're for everyone. I'm like, oh, that's so naff. They're E for everybody. But that said, there is an interesting demographic, which I call the fledgling collectors, which are kind of, kids traditionally play, physical play. till they're 6, 7 years old. Then they get either into sports and video games, and then they kind of go out of playing, and they, in their teens, they go do other stuff. They focus on sports or they're on video games, but they don't play with toys. They don't play, they display. Where some people say, oh, well, I like that character. I'm going to grab that character. I'm going to display it on my shelf. And some may or may not then graduate to collectors, where they go, okay, I'm going to collect this line or collect this character. So there's this weird little dip from the age of about 9 to kind of 16, 17, the teenage years, where I think maybe I could do a little bit more specific designing for them, but it would have to be on the more collector side, because I want to bring them into the collector community, because I want that community to grow. And it only grows if we bring new people in, bring new generations in. So that's why when I see, people like yourselves, with a family affair with kids, and they're bestowing their collector thoughts onto their sons or daughters, and I see them interacting, and I see kids having their own toy collector podcasts, or not podcast, like YouTube channels. That's great. That's the perfect storm. So to answer your question, it is difficult because it would be difficult to do it, and we don't do it. It just happens to happen when it's a perfect storm, and that's great.
Yeah, and I mean there's been those lines that are kind of surprising, right? Like, every now and then there comes, especially, like you mentioned, that age group. For a while there was that whole trend, what was it called? Game to Life. It was all of those
Toys to Life,
yeah. Where it was those video games that had, toys with NFC chips in them, and they interacted with the video game. So like it gave, that group, that age group, something to say, like, I'm playing a video game with my friends, but like, look at my shelf and all of my, my cool little, figurines.
That was a great observation that they did. They came in, whether it's, we can say the name, Skylanders or Infinity,
Yep.
They were huge, I was looking at Infinity figures the other day, actually. I have, I can't remember the designer's name. The artist's name that designed those. But they're beautiful. Like Infinity sculpts, I think, are like, and the way they almost have like a polystone maquette kind of feel to them. I was looking at the Peter Pan one. I'm a big Peter Pan fan, and I grew up on Peter Pan. And I was like, I was going to buy Peter Pan Infinity, but it was part of Infinity 3, and it was cancelled. And supposedly there's never any sold, but they had some samples made, and they go for not crazy money, but like $400.
Yeah,
like a single Peter. I'm like, but I have to get a good one. All the ones I've seen have got chips out of them, but yeah. So I'm interested in that fledgling collector aspect. I don't know what I'm going to do on that, but I'm going to find out more about it. See if we can get kids into collecting, because it's a fun lark.
So, speaking of that group, though, you guys recently, announced that the pour one out for one of our favorite lines, the retro 375 counter line is at rest, sleeping.
Yeah,
it's only sleeping. With the focus now shifting to the 4-inch Epic Heroes line, what was the kind of decision behind the pivot, of letting that one take a nap while the other one,
Well, so I gotta pull you up on that one, I'm afraid. Sorry, Eric. They are different. And you can say, he's lying, blah blah blah, but I don't need to lie. They're different. They're very different lines. Like, one was for fan retro, 375, and we were going with that. And while that was still going, I was already planning the 4-inch line. It took a while to kind of get that in. So that's a kid line. That's 100% kid line. That's not replacing the 375. That's replacing the 6-inch figures that we used to have for kids. So if you remember, they were 5-point articulated, 6-inch figures. Mm-hmm. I looked at that and go, well, they're the same as Legends. Like, kids are buying Legends for if they want a big figure, but the fans aren't buying the 6-inch, the sort of poorly articulated one. Maybe they'll go for 4-inch ones. And for the 4-inch ones, it's like I wanted to get more vehicles and play sets and world building in for kids, because it's important. That's what they do. That's how they play. And we couldn't do that at 6-inch. It was just too big and bulky, really, and it takes up a lot of shelf space, and like everything, it's more expensive. So the 4-inch line was a way to tackle that for kids, and that was its primary, or that is its primary reason for kids to play world building. And if adults who like 4-inch or 3 3/4 inch like that, they go, yeah, cool, I'll buy that too. It wasn't I promise you, it wasn't a replacement for 375 because they existed in our minds at the same time. It's just that when you get to some things, you have to try lots of different things out, which, I can't talk about, but different priorities come up, and it's like, okay, well, we need to put our eggs over here. Okay, well, what's gonna move? Well, let's rest that or move that or cancel that. And I know a lot of people say, oh, what's this rest word? And it's like, will it come back? I can't guarantee it, but in my mind, we do that all the time. It happens all the time. It happens in our industry. It happens in Hasbro, and it happens with other companies as well, where it goes away and comes back. I've certainly got a lot more heart for it, and I know there are lots of things that we have planned or had planned. So who knows? We'll see. I still like it, and it's a great little line, and I'm very appreciative of everyone's support of it. It's a niche in a niche. It's a slice, but I had great fun. It looks great, and it got like 50 figures. Like that's a lot. Like you can look at I don't know, look at the Secret Wars, Secret Wars, or Superpowers and stuff like that. That's more than that. So
yeah,
it's not a swap. I promise you.
Well, we just wanted to clear that up. We wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
There's been a lot of like, this is not a. We wanted to make that clear that it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't a like for like swap. Yeah, because it's like you said. It's about world building for kids, and I mean that's the best way to. That's what made Star Wars so successful back when when those figures first came out in 78. They were 3 3/4-inch figures when everything else was effectively doll size prior to that, and it allowed for vehicles and play sets and the things that let you kind of live in that world. So it's great to see those kid focused lines go back to that scale. I mean, I still consider that to be like the golden scale for action figures,
and I think they look cool. I like them in my cabinet. That's good. So we'll see how it goes. Everyone's always trying new things and trying different things and mixing things up. So we'll see how it does. I think the response so far, certainly I haven't heard from the kids yet because I haven't seen sales on them because it's too early. But like a lot of the sort of the anecdotal from the fans are like, yeah, cool, okay. Yeah, I like these. Some people don't like them. That's fine. They may not be for you. That's totally fine.
I mean, in our local Targets, they're moving. I've seen. I'm trying to think. I've seen Iron Spider and I've seen Venom, and I saw them and then have not seen them again since. So I mean,
I was going to say I've
moving.
Not seen them yet. Yeah. Like I've seen them not be there, basically. So they're. I was
shipping. No.
Dave's seen the ghost of the epic.
Yeah, like I've basically seen where they would be, but yeah.
But yeah, they are cool looking figures, and I mean, it's
I was gonna say I want to grab one just to like have it.
We all come from that that Kenner background with action figures playing when we were little. So I mean, seeing figures in that style again, like just the fact that they're that size, that they have like the clip-on accessories and stuff, like it's very, it's
there's something about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, I'm glad you like them. Let's see how everyone else feels about them. It's cool. But
back to what we talked about earlier. What's old is new again,
Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at 106 Main Street in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
Level up your collection with CGC, the world leader in pop culture collectibles grading. CGC recently launched its video games division with experienced, knowledgeable, and passionate graders to help you maximize your value on all the games you love. Ready to give your games an extra life? Submit today at cgcgrading.com. That's cgcgrading.com.
Face it, shaker bottles suck. Your shakes always come out clumpy and they're a pain to clean.
You're right, Dave. That's why I decided to ditch my shaker bottle for good and get myself a BlendJet 2 portable blender. It makes perfectly blended shakes in just 20 seconds.
BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease.
BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. It lasts for over 15 blends and recharges quickly via USB-C.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go.
With an array of colors, patterns, or even Disney-inspired designs to choose from, show off your personality while you're blending up something delicious on the go.
What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today.
And be sure to use the promo code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today to get the best deal ever.
This is a public service announcement. Manscaped now has beard products and is going even further with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0.
Go ahead and tell the world the leaders in below-the-waist grooming are traveling north of your South Pole with their revolutionary grooming products. The new Weed Whacker 2.0 and their new beard line confirms they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox.
It is time for you to upgrade your game. Go to manscaped.com and use our code AIC to save 20% off and get free shipping.
The brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 offers improved blades and skin-safe technology with a no-tugging guarantee. It's never been so painless to mind your manholes.
And now that you have your face looking great with the Beard Hedger, you have to try Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 for the full body grooming experience. And this just in, the Performance Package 4.0 now comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0 and all of the other below-the-waist grooming products that Manscaped is known for.
We love the full suite of grooming tools from Manscaped. It's never been easier to take care of our hair. What are you waiting for? Save on Manscaped today.
That's right. Get 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code AIC. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
And now, back to the show.
And speaking of things that didn't work that now work, Aunt May. So we finally are getting a new Aunt May figure. It's been a long time coming. Her last figure prior to this one was terrifying. Dave actually gifted it to me for Christmas a couple years ago, and
did he hang it from the ceiling over your bed so when you woke up she was staring at you?
I actually was laughing so hard when I opened it. So first of all, it's mint in that box. When I opened it, I actually couldn't breathe because I was laughing so hard. The laughter took over my body before it could come out of my mouth, and I just started sweating. And Christmas morning, are surrounded by my wife and at that point just one child, but like literally could not breathe. I was laughing so hard just seeing this terrifying thing in front of me. But that being said, you guys got Aunt May out again. So
Yeah, I know.
How did you make that happen?
It's funny. It's such a in joke, and I can't remember the players, but I know obviously it's like there's Ryan, there's Dan, there's Dwight, there's the engineer Rob, who I don't think many people know about, who is as involved as Ryan and Dwight, and it's obviously Jesse from Marvel. And I think it's like two camps. Like there's a camp that hates it, and a camp that loves it or loves the character or was like thought it was a good idea. And it was I wouldn't say I was brought in as the mediator to make the deciding vote or cast the deciding vote, but it was like I love that kind of stuff. I was just like, yes, do that. That's hilarious. That's brilliant. I love again the colors, just the sort of crazy sort of pastel greens and like I was just get that old lady done. That's fantastic. Why not? Because you've got to. It's like Legends is unique in the sense that we do a lot of figures a year. Like there's a lot. Like we'll do like 170 odd figures a year.
Yeah.
With 2 packs and exclusives and stuff. And you got to mix it up. You got to have the A-listers. You've always got to have a Spidey out. We know that X-Men we're always going to work. Then we've got to do our movies and entertainment because we're supporting our Disney partners. Yeah, we've got to have stuff coming out. And we it's no surprise we do a lot of retooling. We do a lot of kind of redecoing and stuff like because you have to. The Legends promise is here is the Marvel universe, and you can go deep. Yeah, and you can. And I know prices are going up and things like that, but like it's affordable. You can go deep and you can get there. You're not paying like $100 for a single figure and there's only 20 on offer. There's 170 a year on offer, and you got to go deep cuts. You got to do these weird things. You got to do this left field stuff that just adds a little bit of flavor to it. And again, not every figure is going to register with everybody. It's just impossible, and it shouldn't be like that. So we bring stuff out, we redeco, we bring out these kind of weird figures that like you're like, oh May, why'd you do that? But then you also have people go, oh May, that's amazing, that's hilarious, or like, well, I've got that figure already. Oh yeah, but someone else might not have that figure, and it's like it's a community. You got to build this community. You can't just provide for the static community. You can't, because I hate to say it, we're all getting older. We're all going to, like, especially my age, like we're going to die. There's going to be no one left. We have to bring new people in. We have to. And that is, and I never make any apology about that attitude because it's really important. So all I hope is that there's enough figures and enough, A-listers, enough, deep cut core comic characters. There's enough reintroductions. There's enough Aunt Mays and that kind of stuff for everyone to kind of feel as if they can own a little bit of the Marvel Legends line. And that's really the kind of the ethos that we have. And we make no secret about that. But it's like I wouldn't like to just go back to do Legends like 20 a year. I don't know. It just the fan base is too big, and I love it, and I love the fan base, but we'll never be able to please everybody all the time. It's just impossible, and it's like we can try as much as we can, but it's just not going to happen. So if you love Aunt May, thank you. I love her too, and some of the team love her. And if you don't like Aunt May, that's all right. I do, and other people don't. So it's all cool. It's all good. There'll be someone else along very soon that you will like. I promise.
I mean, it's one of those things like, I see it all the time, in like the comment section and everything where it's like, who wants, I feel terrible saying it this way, like who wants an old lady in a suit, or who wants, last year when you guys put out the Ned and Peter 2-pack, 2 plain clothes, obviously Peter Parker, but like, and his friend, the guy in the chair, but, and again,
like I look at it as like you need them.
Well, it goes beyond that too, because like, and it always goes back to Star Wars, right? Like one of the fun things about collecting Star Wars figures was you could have the alien that's in the scene for like you blink and you miss it, but like now you have that in figure form, or the wrestling figures we collect, like I have guy in underwear in 3 different colors underwear, like it's just, it's those little tiny changes and those little tiny additions that make the collection cool. And like, you know, you could have Spider-Man fighting every bad guy. Like, you know, you could say about any superhero, right? Like a superhero is only as good as the villains that he has to fight. So whether it's Spider-Man, whether it's anyone from the X-Men, so it's cool you have this menagerie of villains, but like, who is he saving on your shelf? Like, he's fighting villains for what reason? Who are they attacking? That's why you need your Aunt Mays. You need your Gwen Stacy's. You need your Mary Janes. Like, you need those
Sometimes
figures.
you just need the hood and have just dude yelling.
Which
is
like
fast.
that. Yeah, it's funny because when I was just thinking back and kind of parallels to that, it's like, who wanted Yak Face? Who wanted Yak Face? Like, clearly, not a lot of people, because they only released it in like Europe or France and Canada or wherever it was. And it's like, again, like, oh, that's that goat-looking guy, that Yaki. Now you go and ask the Star Wars fan now, hey, do you want Yak Face? Yeah, I'll have Yak Face. Oh my god, that's amazing! It's one of the best ones ever, and it's just because it's such a great-looking figure. So it's a moment in time, but that moment can change 20, 30 years later. Like, I don't know whether Aunt May is going to be a classic in 30 years. Who knows? But you never know. You never know. And it all depends on how many we make and how many sold and what people do with it. You know, so you've got to have story. You know, this whole collecting thing for me is like a story over our lives. It lasts years. You know, I've been collecting 30 years, 35 years or something. And every story has to have pace. You've got to go highs, and you've got to have lows, you've got to go quiet times and loud times. If it's all the same and it's all, it doesn't become a story. It doesn't become important to you, I don't think. I know if I say to everyone, all the people listening, like, hey, if I only gave you the figures you liked all the time, that would be a boring collection, wouldn't it? And people go, you're an idiot. No, they wouldn't. It would be fantastic. I'd get everything I want all the time. No, that's not true. You wouldn't. You would not get the same. You wouldn't get the same experience as if you had things you didn't like, things you do like, things you got really easily, things you got really difficultly. You know, that's a real cliche. It is the journey. It really is. Yeah. I believe it.
Things you didn't know. And then there's also that other category, things you didn't know you wanted until you saw them.
Saw it now.
You know, like a lot of times those figures pop up where you're like, damn, I didn't know I wanted that figure until I saw that it existed. So
you were talking about the LJN indie from Temple, from Doom. I'm like, I never wanted it. I don't want that. I didn't like it at all. As a young collector, I was like, why did they change the scale? And then you're talking about it, and I'm hearing your stories about it. I'm like, damn it, maybe I should look into that. No, some more.
You know, it's. You know, you either collect everything, or you collect for a character, or you collect for like a genre. Like Aunt May fits into like animated Spider-Man, or just Spider-Man, or, you know, anything.
You need Aunt May, man. You need it. As far as
it's weird because I've got a few Marvel Legends, but it's because we do so many a year. That's a bit. I don't know how many there are out there. I'm sure someone out there knows. I actually don't know how many there are. I know Dwight's got most of them in his office, and it's just like, my goodness. And it's quite intimidating for me to get into because I'm like, I kind of want to collect them, but I don't know what to do or where to start. And I'll be honest with you, when the Aunt May and Doc Ock pack came out, I was like, I like those colors. I may just get animated Spider-Man. Maybe that'll be my little slice. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I want all those weird characters in that slice. And Aunt May fits, and there may be some more coming out that are strange. So, you know, it's each their own. It's just so personal. Collecting is it's weird because collecting is so personal, and yet it is so community. There are so many people like you. I don't know how can there be so many people like you when you are so unique. I don't get it. I don't know how it works, but it works somehow. It happens. I don't know how, but anyway, I'm happy that it does.
Fortunately, like especially when it comes to like Legends, I'm lucky. I'm fortunate that I cut myself off at one character. Otherwise, I'd be like Eric with all the MCU ones, and I'd be like, well, there's like 16 Wolverines, and I like them all. Like, I just have my handful of Ghost Riders.
Marvel Legends is
a
slippery slope. It is very, very slippery. But
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, yeah, with like I went all in on the 375s, so I was
boy, did you! You have every one.
Yeah,
and they're all
Yeah.
opened. None of them are on
Do
card.
you? Do you have both? Do you have the two storms, black eyebrow and white eyebrow?
no.
Oh, I can see his face there. It's a shame. It's a shame, listeners. You couldn't see Dave's face there. There was this sudden look of panic across his face. Like, what? Yeah, that's the only official variant in the 375. It's Storm, because you originally had white eyebrows. And when I looked at them, I was like, does she have white eyebrows? And
Oh, now I gotta look.
and like JB, who designed it, goes, well, yeah, in this edition, in this comic, she got white. And I was like, yeah, but like mostly it's black. And he was like, yeah. I was like, so let's switch it over. Like, I like it. Let's do it black. We can do a running change. It's a simple thing to do. And that's the only thing that's the only official variant. If there are other variants where the colors are off or something, that's a factory mistake. But that is the only variant. So you got to get the two. You got to get the white and the black. And don't ask me which one is rarer, because I think it might be the black, because I think there was enough made in white and then we made some in black. But I don't have the numbers on that. But there we go.
The chase is on.
But thank you for buying those. And do you like your Ghost Rider? Have you got your Ghost Rider 375?
I just got it yesterday. I love it.
Good.
So you talked about the kind of personal nature of the hobby, and you've actually taken it a step further and have gotten into customizing toys yourself, and you recently started your Bits and Bobs videos on Instagram, which are hilarious. The end results of those are a combination of impressive and hilarious.
There's something.
what have you learned about that experience? Just kind of picking random toys and making something out of them.
Yeah, I've learned that Americans love the British words, like Barmy box of Bits and Bobs. Most people are going, what? What the hell's Barmy? What's Bits and Bobs? Anyway, it's just I did it for a shtick originally. It was just like, I'm just going to do this. This will be great content, hilarious. And when I picked my first lot out, or my second lot, and I was like, crap, what am I actually going to make with this? I got a horse, or like I got a giraffe, tri-sentinel, and I can't remember what the other one was. I was like, But I always find that creatively it frees your mind by forcing your mind to think a particular way. So if you're given I always believe that limitations actually foster really great creativity. So I like putting limitations on creativity and ideation, because they're like, go, blue sky, do anything you like. It's like you kind of drift off and you kind of just get lost in yourself. But if it's like, okay, here's the problem, or here are the ingredients, make something from it. It's actually a really good way to really make yourself think differently. So getting some weird things and kind of going, okay, I always work with an attitude. Am I going to be funny? Am I going to be kind of weird? Am I going to be super serious? And I really enjoy it. It's very therapeutic. It is really therapeutic. Going from that weird giraffe kind of warrior to then go to like a Hulk. And I'm going to make a Hulk like I was watching Band of Brothers. I'm going to make a Hulk like he's from Band of Brothers. And very different tonally, but it's just really good. And so it helps me creatively. It helps me just think differently, because sometimes your brain gets stuck in, day out work and life and all that. And it also helps me, with my craft. I mix, because I'm taking different things. I'm doing a lot of molding with kit bashing and painting, and it's not just one or the other. I'm not like casting and molding one thing. I'm breaking bits and adding and casting heads and adding this and kit bashing and painting and airbrushing. And then one of them I'll go, I'm not going to airbrush at all, because I can't be bothered to get my airbrushing kit out. So Hulk, I'm just going to paint that. So therefore it's going to be a lot more like painting Warhammer. It's going to be a lot more brushy and dirty. And that's where I got into the Band of Brothers. So it's this weird menagerie of forced focus, but just problem solving. It's really cool. I like it. It's good. I don't know whether the results are that good, but I don't care. It's not why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to sell the things or win custom awards or anything. It is literally just a little bit of sanity in this Crazy, crazy world we live in.
Well, I hope you keep doing it because it's fun. They're fun as hell to watch. So
Yeah,
Well, I got a
for
load
sure.
more. Yeah, I got a box full of crap, and it's because they are picked randomly, and there's stuff in there. I'm like, oh, I hope I get that, and I never do. So we'll get there eventually. None of it is fake at all. I promise. It's all totally random.
So, Steve, you are going back to the UK. Tell us about that upcoming trip.
Yeah. So originally because I just turned 50. That's very kind of you to say.
Happy
that I don't
birthday.
look it. Thank you.
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday. You don't look a day over 49.
Yeah, that's true. So I just turned 50, and originally I wanted to do a European toy tour. I wanted to go. I wanted to stop off in London, see my friends. There were a lot of. There's a friend who's having a 50th birthday party. I wanted to make sure I went to that, see my mom, and then I wanted to go across to France. I wanted to do like Parc Asterix down in like Paris, then go up through Belgium and do the Smurf and Asterix Museum. Then I wanted to go through Holland and go across to Hamburg. There's like a miniature Wonderland place, which is like the world's largest miniature city there. And then I wanted to go up to Billund and kind of visit some friends at Lego. And I got a friend in Norway. So I was going to do all this huge European tour. And then one of my kids is in college, and that's expensive. And then I was like, crap, I can't afford it. So I had to scale it down. So I forgot the European, and I just did a UK tour. So I'm going into the UK for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to spend some time with my mum. I'm going to zip down to southwest Wales, where the Evanses come from, where my father's ashes are scattered, and kind of just pay some respects to him. And then I'm going to go and see some friends, and I'm going to stop off at some recommended toy stores and comic book stores that my Instagram community have recommended, whether it's like Nerd Base and some other ones. I'm also going to the Museum of Brands, which is in London, which is a fantastic place, which basically collects packaging and products from all the decades, from like Edwardian up to like now. And it's this huge. I went there in the 90s when I was doing graphic design down in Brighton in England, doing my degree. And I remember going there, and it had been around a while, but it was relatively new, and it's still going. It's this museum. It's run by this guy called Richard Opie. He's quite famous in the sort of he's a custodian of product and packaging. So I look around there and I can see all packaging from all the decades. It's fabulous. So I'm just gonna bum around and just kind of have some fun. And I'm going down to Star Wars Celebration. Gonna go there as a fan.
Very cool.
Won't be doing any panels. Awesome. I'll be pestering my Star Wars friends and heckling them from the crowd probably. I won't heckle you, I promise. But that would be cool as well. So yeah, I'm just 2 and a bit weeks of just geeking out, catching up with friends, and yeah.
Well, if you need another place to visit, I'm sure it's been recommended, but I hear great things about Leicester Vintage Toy Shop.
Yeah, I hear about it. I'm not going that far north. I'm going up towards Birmingham to meet someone. I'm meeting a lot of people from Instagram that I've never met before, like in person. So hopefully they'll all be cool, or I'll be murdered. I don't know. Just go to Birmingham and let's just get killed. But it'll be good fun. Yeah. So I've heard the Leicester Toy Shop is good, but I don't think I'm going quite that north. Who knows? Maybe after Birmingham I'll shoot across. It's just up and east a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think I just saw Dan who reviews.
Yes,
was over there. I saw he was posting pictures of their displays in shop, and it looked pretty impressive.
I'm going to Nerd Base in Battlesbridge, which is a brilliant name. What a great name for a place. And I think In Demand Toys, I think it's up in Norwich. I'm going to do some stuff up in Norwich.
Very cool.
And then some London stuff, and then Birmingham. So maybe I will try out Leicester.
Well, what do you say we do some Q&A? We take some questions from our followers. So if this is the first time you are listening to Adventures in Collecting, welcome. I hope you're enjoying this.
Thank you.
Yes. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Make sure that you're following us at AIC_podcast, because every time we have a guest, we will post and give you the opportunity to ask our guest some questions. So we have 3 for you today. That we have,
right.
we have
Magic number.
Filtered
yes,
through
it
here.
is.
So Dave, would you like to do the first question?
I would. Friend of the pod at Toy Farce asks, in your expert opinion, are G.I. Joe's Dr. Mindbender and Action Man's Dr. X the same person?
I like Toy Fast. Funny account. If you're not following Toy Fast, please follow Toy Fast.
Yes,
although
please.
They do take a couple of little pokes at me once in a while, or legends, but it's all in good fun. I don't mind a bit of that in good fun. It's good sport. So I've been thinking about this because I just got Emily left me a Mindbender San Diego Comic-Con sample. I think that's been announced. Yes, it has been.
Yeah. I'm looking at mine right here.
Okay, great. So I got one of those and I opened it up and I went, he's just like Dr. X. I used to work on Action Man back in England when I was at Hasbro. So the new Action Man, the sort of sporty Action Man, hit in 93. And that's when Dr. X was introduced. And Dr. X was his big, and he wasn't that muscular, but he's like big handlebar moustache, balding, or he did have a little rat's tail at one point, and like cybernetic eye, or he had an eye patch. He's changed his design over a period of time. And then Mindbender, if I remember correctly, was like mid to late 80s. He was like 86 or something like that. Similar-ish in terms of like cybernetics and genetics and cloning. I don't think they're the same person, and I can't prove that because I don't know anyone on Action Man that I can ring up and say, hey. But clearly there was some design cues there, I would say, that Dr. X, they were like we'll do Dr. Mindbender. There are reasons I won't go into in terms of why that name wouldn't work in England. Those of you who are English will understand why. So they clearly changed the name. But again, I think there was design cues, but I don't believe, no, Toy Fast, I do not believe they are the same person or same character.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Our next one comes from at 118 Archive. By the way, another awesome account. If you're not following 118 Archive, when will we see the next wave of epic heroes? So
we've got the Spidey first wave. And it's funny because we all talk about them in waves, but they're kids' toys, so they're never called waves. So I say that, but so we got Spidey, the first lot of Spidey out. We got the Mechasaur stuff out, which is basically the Avengers. And we've got another lot. We've got some more Spidey coming out later on in the year. But is the question, when's the next one?
Yeah.
What are we now? March. Oh, it's pretty soon. I would say before I'm back from the UK, I'll be posting some details about some new 4-inch.
All right.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. And it's like, I'm not announcing them because they're kid line. They aren't pre-orders or anything like that. They just go to stores. So as soon as they hit stores, I'll post pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones where there's going to be more adult collectors of this line than was probably anticipated. So it's just I've got a feeling.
But the fun thing
I do too.
The fun thing is, I don't know whether you call this fun or not. Like there won't be pre-orders, there won't be big announcements, there won't be part of live streams. They'll be like the old days. They'll just hit stores. You'll just go in and go, oh, look at that. So again,
and
I think
that's a 100% is.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing kind of going for it.
To our younger audience, there was a time before the internet when you would just walk into a thing called a toy store and there were new toys there.
Yeah.
You could also have ended that sentence as there was a time before the internet.
They won't believe it.
Precisely. All right, Dave, you want to do the
pretty soon.
Do you want to do the last one here?
Yeah, I could do that. So lots of people asked some form of this question. The Star Wars fandom is complicated, and you have a deep connection and a long history with the franchise and the fans. Do you ever think you'd return to working on the Star Wars brand at Hasbro?
Complicated is a good word. That's a very generous word. Yeah. Listen, I'm not shy about saying that the Star Wars community is complicated, passionate. can be gracious, can be ungracious. I'm part of it. I've been part of it 30 odd years. So it's like, I feel in that as well. I'll always take the good, the bad and the ugly on Star Wars and anything I work on. So again, no secret. I love Star Wars. It's my thing. It's the thing I grew up with. It's the thing I play with the most. I was a Star Wars kid from the age of 5 till about 13, or 12, which is probably older than I should have done in those days. And I rediscovered it, at the age of sort of 18 or so. And I've been there ever since. I love Star Wars. I love it with a passion. And would I go back to it? Yeah, I absolutely would go back to it. I would. Vicky, who leads Star Wars at the moment, she's design director. She's done the same thing. She was on Star Wars in like 2003, I think, for like Attack of the Clones and just Revenge of the Sith, and she's back on it. She's been on it the last sort of 4 years or so. So Hasbro's like that. We move around a lot. So I have no plans to go back to it at this precise moment. I've got too much to do on Marvel. But who knows? I at this moment, I don't think I'm leaving Hasbro. There's still too much for me to do. I'm still too interested. The day I leave my job or any job is when I wake up and don't want to go, or I'm bored. Like, that's the worst thing. You don't want me when I'm bored. I hate being bored. So to answer your question, yeah, of course I would. Why would I say no? But no plans to at the moment. I've got my hands full with Marvel.
So the pod bay doors are always open. One could say.
Yeah, always. And that is very much the Hasbro culture. It's kind of a lot of lateral kind of moving and trying new things out. So,
well, with that, you've survived the Q&A, the fan Q&A.
We did it.
Wow,
and as is tradition on this podcast, we do have a final question. But since were one of the first people to get the final question 3 years ago, we had to come up with a new final question for you. So, Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask Steve the alternate final question?
Who's James Lipton? I don't know who James Lipton is.
Have you ever heard of Inside the Actors Studio?
No.
You should after this.
Yeah.
Not like don't stop. Literally, like we're recording right now. So don't stop right now and do it. But once we're done, just look up. You're a Simpsons guy, right? That's another one of the things that you really look up.
Yeah, we had that in England. Yeah.
Look. Were the Simpsons in England?
Do you have cars?
So look up The Simpsons Inside the Actors Studio. That's like probably the most famous episode of it. Okay. It's a show that was on, God, I think it was
Monorail's the most famous.
It was on Bravo, I think.
Yeah, I think it was on Bravo way back. But yeah, look up The Simpsons Inside the Actors Studio. And if you like that, then just buckle up and go down the rabbit hole with it. But
okay. All right.
But
all right. I'm sorry, Dave, you were going to ask a final question. I will look up.
Oh, no, that's okay. So since we've already asked you the final question, we ask all of our guests a different final question for this appearance. If you could bring any property to life in the 3 3/4 scale, what would it be?
Do I have to answer in a deep, sexy voice, Dave?
No, but that'll all make sense once you watch that.
Yes,
it's amazing what a rock band microphone can do for you, Dave.
Right? The dynamic range on a rock band microphone.
No, that's literally my best James Lipton.
Yeah.
This question. There's so many. This is one of the questions that will change monthly. All right, but at this point in time, again, this isn't very American, but it's apt because it harkens back to my European tour intent. Asterix. If you know Asterix, there are lots and lots of characters. There are like tens and tens and tens of characters. And I would, not quite as many as Marvel, 8,000 or whatever it is, but I would love a Gaul village full of Asterix, Obelix, Getafix, Dogmatix, Geriatrix, Vital Statistic. A 3 3/4 inch scale, quite plump because they're all kind of drawn. Most of them are quite sort of bulky. They would almost be like a village of Gamorrean guards. It would be brilliant. I would love that, like cartoon accurate Asterix, 3 3/4 inch. Doesn't have to be super articulated, just nicely sculpted, super accurate to the comic. And then I buy villages and fencing and Romans. It would be brilliant. That at this point in time would be what I would want, because I've just bought the whole set of Asterix books I found on a popular third party sales place, and they cost me like $3 each.
Oh wow.
There's about 30 odd, and they're like, they haven't been read. They're still just unopened, and they're from like 1969 up until about 1982, I want to say. So Asterix, yes, I love Asterix at this moment in time this month. So that's what I would do, Dave.
Yeah, awesome.
All right.
Yeah, and those
That's cool.
those other the figures that I think they were by like a French brand, right?
Lancet, yeah.
Those are pretty cool.
They're brilliant, and they're like that sort of 6-inch scale. But they made They made about 4 or 5. I'm looking 4. There's 4 of them. Not nearly enough. I need more. I need the full village. But that would be too big at 6-inch. So give me 3 3/4 inch Asterix, please. Thank you. Whoever has that.
Please and thank you.
Yes.
Dear licensor, please. You know what? That sounds like one of those licenses like, oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. Plastic Meatball.
Yes.
That's got Plastic Meatball written all over it.
And then, so now you say my second choice. They did a great line with the cereal line.
Yeah,
they did with and Sam, Dig It, and Tony the Tiger. I need you, Meatballs, Plastic Meatball, to go and do Count Chocula and Frankenberry and Boo Berry, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
they know who I am, and I know who you are. So come on.
I'm looking at their Hoggle right now. I love their Labyrinth figures.
I've got a bunch of their stuff too that I like.
I have a big thing for cereal mascots at the moment. It's just, I don't know what it is. I got some old 90s Frankenberry kind of little giveaways and things. I just love the character design. I love cereal design, especially in America. I came to America I came in like 77 because I saw Star Wars. But I was 5, so I don't remember it. But in 83, I came back, and I remember as a 10-year-old going into the supermarket with my mum and dad down in Florida, and the cereal aisle, I was blown away. I was like, what is this place? Because in England, we got boring cereals. We had Weetabix and things like that, but like, it's so colourful, and they got marshmallows in. So I was just enamored with cereal and the way, as a culture. It's just really weird. So now I have this thing about cereal mascots. I read about them. I've got books on them, and it's very odd, but I love it.
And
the culture of
those
breakfast
look like
cereal.
They hopped right off of the box. Like they're really good figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch that they can make. To like the deep cut of like the Quisp guy to like Captain Crunch. I mean, there are
I
so
need
many.
a Captain Crunch. I need a 3 3/4 inch Captain Crunch. I need Snap Crackle Pop. I need all of that.
Yep. There's a ton. There's a ton. And I think all the ones they've done so far have been Kellogg's, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're all Kellogg.
Yeah.
So
the other ones are General Mills. Is that right?
General Mills is the Halloween
Frankenberries.
The Halloween cereal.
And Fruit Brute is the wolf, right?
Yeah,
Fruit
Brute is the wolf. Yep. Fruit Brute. Yeah. But they could do Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Those are Rice Krispies or Kellogg's. So.
Yes. Yeah, they're Kellogg's. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Well, Steve, before we let you go, thank you again so much for joining us on the show. Please let our followers know where can they find you on social media and where can they find out all the good Hasbro stuff.
Well, I'm easy. What? I'm easily found on. I'm easily found at Mr. Stevie 18 on Instagram. That's the only place I really am. I kind of say some things on Facebook or like join forums and communities there, but I don't post on Facebook, or I do, but that's just for family. So Instagram, Hasbro, you can always go to at Hasbro imaginatively, or at Hasbro Pulse on Instagram, which is always good. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you. I'm doing all right with my followers. I'm trying to get to 18,000. That's my big number. 18 is my family special number. You can ask any of my. I'm going to bore you with the facts now. So my mum, when I was 2, said, "How much do you love me, Stephen?" Because she's the only person on the planet that calls me Stephen. And I said, 18, mummy, because it's the biggest number I could think of. So 18 has since then been the biggest number you can have for my kids. I love you, 18. Blah, blah, blah. So to hit 18 on Instagram is a big number for me. So hopefully I'll get there soon. But maybe I'll have a suitably big giveaway. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a think about that.
Or maybe you could just give away 18 things.
I could give away 18 paper clips, 18 Razor Crests. No,
18 sail barges,
18 sail bar. I don't even know there's 18 left anywhere that isn't already owned.
Can you imagine 18 of those just in one spot?
Imagine me shipping them.
You could build a small home out of 18 of them.
They cost me like 100.
Only thing in the room.
Yeah, it's like because I've shipped them before. It's like $150 to ship in the States.
Jesus.
Just like going down the post office.
So big. But
we'll see.
Well,
anyway, that's where you can find me.
We'll make sure to put links to all of that in the show notes, so everyone get to tapping over there, and let's get Steve up to that 18,000 follower mark. And Steve, have a safe trip back.
Yes,
back.
Enjoy.
Across the ocean there, and we'll have to not wait another 3 years to have you back on. We got to do it a little bit sooner than that.
Definitely sooner than 3.
It takes a few years for me to gather some new things to tell you that's interesting. So I appreciate. Listen, first of all, I appreciate you having me back on, and second of all, I appreciate that you're still doing it. All right, 3 years is a long years. No, it's a long time, no matter what you're doing. So I'm glad that you guys are doing well, and that your podcast is going from strength to strength. So keep going, onwards and upwards. Please, somebody buy Dave a new bloody microphone.
No, it's good luck. It's good luck.
It's good luck. Set up a GoFundMe.
Dave, send us home.
When you get those toys, everybody, make sure to let them breathe.
Yes.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azzari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.